there's a lot of stuff happening, and yeah, so we got a lot of stuff to get to. So let's just jump right into it, and then I'll talk about all that other stuff at the end of the show. So, as we all know, there was a film that came out a couple of weeks ago. Um, did really well opening weekend, but the budget was massive, absolutely massive. And I'm talking about Fast 10. So Dwayne Johnson is now actually coming back to the franchise after, for years and years and years, said he was going to. And now he is actually going to be getting his own spinoff. Now, this is not going to be a Fast 11 or a Hobbs and Shaw 2, and we're going to get to the article from THR in a minute, but it's more of a, as he put it, a Fast 10 and a half. So I a lot of questions I have, but let me get to the article first because I think it's worth reading and then talking about. So, according to the THR, okay, Dwayne Johnson is returning for a new Fast and Furious movie, and the feature is written by Chris Morgan. It won't be a Hobbs and Shaw sequel, and it's not a Fast 11. Think of it more as a Fast 10.5. After the surprise tease at the end of Fast 10, Universal was making it official. Dwayne Johnson, or The Rock, is coming back for another Fast and Furious movie. Johnson will star in an untitled Fast project, Universal and Johnson announced Thursday. Fast mainstay Chris Morgan penned the script. The return is a major reversal for the star, who had insisted repeatedly that he was done with the action franchise after clashing with Fast headliner Vin Diesel. The new project will also mark a return for Morgan, who sat out Fast 9 and Fast X, but penned 6 of the main franchise movies, as well as the spin-off Hobbs and Shaw, which starred Johnson and Jason Statham. Johnson, who will also produce Fast Project with his Seven Bucks production partners Danny Garcia and Harim Garcia. Interestingly enough, interestingly, joining Johnson on the producers list is Fast star and steward Vin Diesel, who will produce with Samantha Vincent via their One Race. The producers are definitely clearly taking the franchise's theme of family to heart, as Danny Garcia is Johnson's ex-wife, while Harim Garcia is Danny's brother and Johnson's ex-brother-in-law. Samantha Vincent is Diesel's sister. Also producing for Morgan are Chris Morgan's productions, Jeff Kaisenbarden for Roth and Kaisenbarden Films, and Neil Moritz for Original Film. This new spin-off is not a spin-off of a la Hobbs and Shaw, nor is it a Fast 11 or Fast 12. Rather, sources say the movie will act as a bridging chapter between Fast 10 and Fast 11, more of a Fast .5, if you will, or 10 and a half. It is expected to star other Fast actors as well. But fans should not get too excited about an on-screen reunion about Johnson and Diesel just yet. Sources also say that Diesel is not expected to star in this side chapter, although nothing can be ruled out for future projects. In essence, the two conflicting megastars have found a way to reunite behind the screen, but not on the screen. To return Johnson to the Fast franchise, but without returning him to Diesel's family dinners. Johnson and Diesel clashed back in 2016 when they had on the set of the Fast and the Fate and the Furious, when Johnson sparked Johnson to go public on his displeasure on Instagram, calling out an unnamed male co-star. Over the years, he stated multiple times in the press that he will not be returning to the main franchise. I wish them well on Fast 9, and I wish them well on Fast 10 and 11, and the rest of the whole franchise, the rest of the movies, but they will be doing it without me, he told the THR in 2021. A few months later, Diesel made an appearance to Johnson, an appeal to Johnson to return for Fast X. Again, Johnson said in the press he would not be coming back, telling CNN there was, quote, no chance, end quote, he would return after privately telling Diesel such ahead of the co-star's public overtures. I privately spoke with the partners at Universal as well. all of whom were very supportive and they understand the problem, Johnson said. Yet, after completing Fast 10, Johnson was convinced to come back for a cameo. We reached out to Dwayne and his team and said, just come watch the movie. You have to love it. Have to love the movie first. So he came and he watched the movie and he really loved it. And then we started talking. Fast X filmmaker Louis Tur said last month at THR. But in a social post Thursday, Johnson said the family was back together. Last summer, Vin and I put all of the past behind us. We'll lead this brotherhood and resolve and always take care of the franchise, characters, and fans that we love. The new movie allows Universal to extend the life of the franchise and it now spans 2 decades plus, one that is supposed to be winding down. Over the course of the 10 movies, the franchise has earned more than $7 billion at the worldwide box office. The latest installment, Fast X, opened number one around the world earlier in May with 320 million receipts and became the second highest global opening of 2023. It crossed the $500 million mark in the second weekend. Okay, let's talk about this because there's a lot to say. Hey, Dad, how are you? So we have a lot to so I just actually was starting about in the first story as you arrived. So let's talk about this because I think that this is one of those things where I got to be honest. I just don't see for him to say this is a fast. First of all, the fact that they're doing a spinoff and he's going to be the star of it. This is Dwayne Johnson again trying to reinsert himself into another franchise. If you go back over the course of the last few years, he has tried to do that. I see the comment and I'll get to you in just a minute. So basically what it ended up happening, this is Dwayne Johnson just trying to reinsert himself into the franchise. And basically, to say that Vin will not be starring in this, okay, that's a couple of things. Number one, that's not to say he will not have a supporting role in this, okay? He will not be, just because somebody says, oh, I'm not going to star in a movie, doesn't mean that they're not going to have a supporting role in the movie, okay? That's something to keep in mind. Number two, when they say other fast stars are going to be in this, you can kind of deduce who is going to be in the movie. Okay, so I've always said Michelle Rodriguez is an integral part of this. If Dom is not going to be in this, then you can pretty much tell Michelle Rodriguez is not going to be in this either. Okay, which leaves only a few other people. Okay, that's going to be Ludacris. That's going to be Tyrese Gibson. Okay, that's going to be Charlize Theron. Okay, that's probably going to be Brie Larson. Okay, and Gal Gadot. So those are probably the 5 people today you're going to see, not today, but in the future that you're going to see. I wouldn't be shocked if you see Kurt Russell in this movie either, because we are also to the point where, Brie Larson is the daughter, and this would be a perfect way to just slide him in. So when Fast 11 comes around, we already have it. This is going to be, so another point. Think of this Fast 10 and a half, if you will, like a Rogue One, right? We have episode 3 and we have episode 4. Okay, Rogue One is that one story that we wanted to always know about. How did they get the plans? Well, Rogue One was how they got the plans. This is right in between that slide. So you're going to have 10, you're going to have this little movie here, and then you're going to have 11. And this is just one of those things where I got to be honest. What is Universal doing here? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think that it's a bad move. I will not be, just because he's producing too, doesn't mean there's not going to be friction. Okay, so let's get to a couple of these comments here. Yeah, it says, that day you had Matthew on talking about Fast X, he said he would never be another spinoff or anything. I disagree. No, you're right. You're absolutely right, Dad. You're absolutely right. So I'd be curious to get Matthew's thoughts on that too, actually. I think there will be a loose Hobbs and Shaw sequel. Stratham and Helen Mirren will probably show up. Rock and Stratham will team up to save Hobbs' daughter and Shaw's mom. Yeah, I mean, it's way too early to tell. Um, I don't know because, yeah, I mean, look, I think at the end of the day, I think Stratham's going to be in it for sure, even though he's not going to be that. They're not going to call it Hobbs and Shaw, but it's kind of Hobbs and Shaw, too. I think you're going to see, um, I think you're going to see Kurt Russell in it. I do, because I think they're going to want to tie the whole thing up with Brie Larson's character. I think you're going to see Gal Gadot because we saw her at the end of Fast 10. I think we've got a couple of other stars, and it's going to be dependent on the story too, right? I mean, I wouldn't mind to see, I wouldn't mind them going back and actually doing like a prequel type of thing for Shaw or Dwayne Johnson's character. Like, how did he become an agent type of thing, right? And then we fast forward, and then um, he has to go and do something. That isn't a bad idea. But just having him jump right back, it just seems very Rocky's not the right word, but very tough, because we didn't see him but all for 2 minutes in this last film. So, but the fact that he's getting another sequel or a spinoff or whatever they want to call it's just I'm beside myself. Like I said, this is another franchise that he's trying to reinsert. Don't forget, guys. Look what happened with Black Adam. He wanted to reinsert Henry Cavill, and that whole thing busted. Okay, Cavill, left The Witcher because he knew he was going to get a slot in the DC projects, and then James Gunn and Peter Safran came in and said, "Oh, see ya," and he was shown the door, and they had to retool it, and then it blew up in his face. So this is exactly why. Remember the statements that The Rock had made too about not wanting to have Shazam in his own movie. Remember that? When he said, "I don't want Shazam in my movie, okay? I want my own movie." Well, this is exactly what he wanted. This is exactly what he wanted, okay? And people forget that. So he's now starting to, get these things. I'm really curious to see A, who's going to direct this, and B, who else signs on. And look, I don't want another male-led cast. You have to have, whether it is Helen Mirren, whether it is Charlize Theron, whether it is Brie Larson, whether it is, Michelle Rodriguez. And who knows? I wouldn't be shocked. I'm going to call it right now. I wouldn't be shocked to see Vin Diesel make a cameo at the end. Teasing Fast 11. Hands down. Speaking of Cavill, did you see the new Flash trailer showing Superman? No, I didn't. That's interesting. I'll have to check that out. And of course, I just did a piece the other day about how Andy Machete put his foot in his mouth. So no, I will definitely have to check that out, Dad. Definitely. But anyways, what do you guys think about Dwayne Johnson getting his own movie for the Fast and Furious, even though he said he wasn't coming back, even though he said he had problems with Vin Diesel, and even considering his history of busting with DC? Do you think he deserves his own spinoff? Do you think it will be financially successful? Or do you think it's going to be a total bust? Leave your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll get back to everybody.